Hello people, how you doing? Just being hippie here. Just got home from work, just got cleaned up. All you slaves like myself, oh, it's so nice to be off work for a minute or two. Go back and do it tomorrow, I guess. Funny how that is. The big man stays big and the little man stays little. And we all wonder why. It's because we allow it. We're accountable for ourselves and we're accountable for nobody else, and yet we allow everything that happens to happen. Because if we didn't like what was happening, we would change it. That's the reality of it. But everyone's under this illusion that they are happy. They're happy to get up and go to work every day and make their boss lots of money while they struggle to survive, while funding illegal wars by government who imposes unlawful taxes upon the people. And we allow that to happen too. And until we all figure out that we're our own people individually, and then we become accountable for ourselves and we can stand up to these belligerent bastards who have taken over our country in the lower courts by, rather than pleading guilty to every one of their bullshit lies of crime that they're imposing their tyranny on people, the free world. For everything you do, you can get a ticket for jaywalking and have to pay these bastards. So what you need to do, people, is start refusing to pay them at that court level and take your court case to the jury and let the jury decide whether or not you're liable to fund the existence of the machine that you created. You created this machine to purposely function and make sure commerce is conducted in order for society to thrive. But they've learned that they can use you and me as cattle and take our taxes and our money. People, when you think about the reality of it, when you pay all of your fuel taxes and all of your income taxes and all your cigarette and your beer and ammo, guns, it don't matter. Your tax, your property, your fucking registration is a tax, your license is a tax, all your taxes, you're spending upwards $75 in your taxes. And a lot of people are going into hock just to be able to do that, into the fake financial system. They don't realize that there is no real money and that their money is borrowed into existence by them borrowing more money. It all started off $100, but you've got to look into the banking system and see how the scheme works to be able to understand it and comprehend it. But we all allow it to happen, especially those people who use the banking system. I try not to. All of my paychecks are put into the bank, but I spend them out immediately. I do not leave no cash in the bank. I do not believe in banks, and I do not trust banks. And I even trust with my own credit union, but I do not leave my money in there. I spend it because I can't take it with me anyway. So excess wealth is something that is nice. You know, if you want to be rich. But the greatest wealth is in your heart and in your mind, and until enough people figure that out and stand accountable for their own reality, and use the justice system the way it was carved out to be used as a tool to prevent tyranny and oppression by overzealous governments, by using a jury of our peers to decide on trials on whether laws are just or unjust. And see, the jury, that's where our system of law was set up so nice, was that by the jury being caught up and being able to play their part in government, they have more power than the judges at this point in time when you're a juror. And what that judge says is not really the truth. He's going to tell you something, but he cannot make your decision for you regardless of what the law says. That's your own choice, and if there's no victim, there is no crime. And that's outright how this country was set up by the founding fathers, to be a country instead of a corporation, which is what it has evolved into at this point in time, which will be history tomorrow. The reality is that until the people start going into the courts and refusing to just hand over more money and take their case to the jury box and let the jury decide, folks, we're all part of the jury pool, see, and if there is no victim, there is no crime. So when you're pulled in on jury duty and you're looking at a defendant, that's a fellow human being sitting over there being charged for a victimless crime by this corrupt corporate government who's taking control of every aspect of our lives because we've allowed them to do it by not using the system of government, which is the lower court system that was designed for us, our protection against tyranny. I can't emphasize this enough, people. I can't explain to you how it was set up to work, but that is how. The people can repeal unwarranted laws, legislated into action by finding the people not guilty of them. It's plain and simple. It's jury nullification, but it's also jury lawlessness. And it's time that we put this tool to work that we have. It'll save America, people. It will wake these bureaucrats up to the fact that we know about their bullshit lies, and what's going to happen is inevitable with what's going on in the economy and stuff. But in the meantime, while we're still all living under this same society that it's eroded into today, we need to take advantage of these courts that are set up for our tool of resistant oppression by government. And the only way to do it is show your civilian dissidence. I am not a citizen, man. You show your civilian dissidence. You are a civilian only if you want to be part of the government. But you can be a non-belligerent civilian rather than a citizen, and they can't really hold that against you if you don't want to participate in their government. And it's time that everybody becomes accountable for themselves and start fucking becoming civilians instead of citizens. There's a foolish couple words that are oxymoron that I hear all the time, and that's that I'm a sovereign citizen. Well, people, a sovereign is a king in his own right. Bottom line, you're a king. You're accountable for your own self. You are accountable. You're sovereign. You don't go out and hurt no one. You don't let nobody hurt you. You expect others in society to do the same. That's how society functions in a sovereign society. If you have a problem with people, the people unite against the problem, just like we need to unite against the government now. I can't make you do it. I can't force you to do it. You're going to do what you're going to do. I do care about what's going on because the millennial children of today who are in today's society are set up for a slap in the face of reality when the real martial law is put into effect, and you do not think that's going to happen. You better take a look at Nazi Germany, because history repeats itself, and that's about to happen when you look around and see the FEMA camps. It may not have happened right now. It may still happen. Jade Helm's not over. October's not here. I don't know what's happening then either. It's just that's when I always had a feeling it was going to be in October sometimes when the shit's going to go down. But that's not here nor there. I'm not a fortune teller, and I'm not anything but a fellow human being trying to survive and explain to you people out there how to survive even after the collapse, because when the collapse does happen, the government's still going to try to impose their tyranny, and the only way that the people are going to survive is societies that are in patches of freedom here and there, and it's going to be real freaky the way society is going to erode real fast, and I'm eager to see it happen. I'm anxious to see it happen, but I don't want to see it happen, but I think it's inevitably going to happen. Bottom line, and I think you all ought to have your storage of rice and beans and oats and grains and your grinders and your stove to get your campfires going inside your house, your stove, so you'll be able to boil your water and burn your wood in your house. You ain't going to have running water, so you're going to have to probably have a water system set up, because the pumps are going to be down. You might have a solar system and a pump system set up, so you might be doing okay that way. But when things go down, people, it's going to be a real sudden, abrupt, and hit in your face hard shit. And you ain't gonna have this internet here we're all bullshitting on right now. That's a fact, because they're gonna shut that down, because they don't want you to know what's going on back east, and they don't want me to know what's going on back west, or vice north-south. I'm from the northwest, so I kind of know what's going on here. But people, I can't emphasize enough that in the meantime, as long as we're functioning as a society that we're functioning under the constitutional society that we're supposed to be under, we need to practice the jury lawlessness and do our jury nullification. It's our duty and it's our right to humanity to continue the design of the founding fathers and make sure that their blood was not shed in vain. Just because, now here's another thing, just because they wrote that Declaration of Independence and they wrote that Constitution, there's one thing about the Constitution, it's signed it there in witness of, you can look at that. But anyway, they willed that on to their posterity, but you as posterity does not necessarily have to follow under the abridgment of that federal government constitution. You can elect to follow the guidance of the great creator of the universe and abide by his rights and his design of the truth and reality, and that's where you find it here, and things all align in truth and reality, and things usually go pretty good for a person. Like, I travel around without a license quite a bit, and when I do get caught, I do the white man fucking court thing. I don't plead guilty. I fight it tooth and nail. I do. I fucking have done it a couple times now, and they continue to oppress me, but they've put me in a situation where they won't even give me a driver's license, but yet I have, in a situation, I'm forced to survive. I pay the subsistence of 4 or 5 Obama buck recipients every month on my taxes that I pay. I'm not trying to brag, but it's ridiculous that you kick a man in the balls to give this man who's too lazy to get up and fucking get himself a job so he can eat, and you kick him in the balls and take his money and give it to him. That's ridiculous, and that's what our society has evolved into, because we've allowed it to happen. Every time someone goes into an IRS court, that needs to be brought in front of the juries, and the jurors need to be fucking aware of the rights of the people and not the rights of government. The government has only the rights that we the people consent to. If you don't consent to what the government's doing, it's our right, it's our duty, and it's our fucking reality to change it. It is the only way that we as a society are going to thrive, is to take back our existence and stop letting the government rule our existence, because they don't rule us people. We are all individuals and we are accountable for ourselves, and unless you have hurt somebody, you've done no wrong. You owe nobody nothing for nothing. No social unjust. You do not belong in prison. You need to be released. And it's time that we have this evolution and revolution and resolution and change this society into the free society and let anarchy take its place in its role in society, because you sure wouldn't have the cops running around in an anarchist society killing off the civilians. I'll tell you what, they may get away with killing the citizens, but they wouldn't be killing the civilians. The civilians wouldn't put up with it. They would take the law into their own hands, and they would have took care of the problem, and the police officer would know that they don't fuck the civilians. But you're all too goddamn scared and become citizens of the United States government, a corporation who has no right, only by consent. They are allowed people. You allow them to do what they do. And until you unite with your brothers and your sisters and your fellow human beings against this machine that we have willed into existence, it's going to continue to grow and destroy us as a free people. I remember back in the day when I was a juvenile, and my freedoms were a lot different than what they are here today. I could smoke marijuana and get away with it. I could drink and have parties and shoot my guns on the street corners, and I was responsible. I lived in the country, I'll mind you, and that's why I don't mind the collapse of society as we know it today. That is going to inevitably happen. It's out of control and it can't be stopped, and that's why everything else is being rolled in, because this illusion is about to become reality and there's nothing you can do about it. But in the meantime, you can try to steer the course of reality back into the realm of our control instead of government control and tyranny and oppression. I know I'm talking a lot, and I know I'm not saying a lot, but if you listen to my words and hear what I'm saying, then they make a lot of sense, and it's actually absolutely true. And if you would pass this message on and tell everybody else to watch all my videos, it explains how the corporate America took control of America, the free America, back in the Slave Trade Act and the Fugitive Slave Act, when that all was incorporated in the corporate government, was in fucking fused with the corporate America, and it fucking all went south from there. And you gotta look into the history books and not the history that they teach in school, because it's quite a bit different when you get the real history books written by the people who lived in the time. They tell it a little bit different than what you were taught in school. And I'm not here to give no history lesson, but if you want history lessons, that's what I suggest you do, is buy the old books. You know, you got the fall and decline of the Roman Empire. I got fucking A to Z right here. I can go right over here, and I can get my old books, folks, and I know quite a bit about how the law was set up to be and how the reality of where it all went fucking amok and shit. And this one here is a good one here too. Conspiracy Committee of 300, if you're into that kind of stuff, you know, which I am. I believe in researching everything that I hear. I do not believe anything that I cannot touch, feel, taste, smell, or hear, or see with my own fucking eyes. I don't trust NASA. I don't trust the government. I don't trust you unless you're right here in my immediate surroundings and I know who you are. And I would know immediately. I have that vibration pickup sense to where I know if I could trust you or not. I really do. I don't know why. I do have that seventh ability that most people have a sixth, and that's why I call it a seventh, because I can judge character almost immediately. But that's not what this is about either. It's just I'm getting off track here, people, and it's getting into 20 minutes anyway, and I didn't know I could talk that long and say so little. But if you get this message out and we try to straighten up the society and start pointing it back into republic society, to where the people have control of society and government only controls the commerces they are supposed to be doing for us, and making sure the shit's rolling and that our food's rolling down the highway, and we're able to do so too. And our governments are shutting us down, people. And if you look into what's really going on industrial shutdown, shutting down the nuclear plants, shutting down the coal fire plants, people, they're going to make it impossible for us to afford electricity. That's what I said, you better have your electric stove going on. Your wood burning stove going on. I suggest getting a little tiny room-sized one. Build you a nice one out of a fucking 5-gallon propane bottle or something. I don't know how you're going to do it. I ain't built mine yet, but I seen one the other day out of a 5-gallon propane bottle, and it looked like it'd be a pretty good one. I'm pretty good handed to steel, so that's what I do for a living. So I was going to build me one of them. Maybe I'll fucking build one and show you all what I came up with myself. But anyway, yeah, I'm just rambling, and I don't think y'all want to just hear me keep rambling, so I'm just going to go ahead and end it there, folks. Please go ahead and pass this message on, and please help me to institute the will and the accountability of the people back into themselves, so that we can become a prosperous civilization again, people. It's the only way it's going to work, is if we are all accountable for ourselves and do what we are supposed to do, and make sure, while we're accountable for ourselves, that everyone else is maintaining their accountability for themselves, because that's the one thing, that we're all accountable for ourselves and nobody else. So it's an accountability thing. That's all I know. What I'm talked out now. So remember, pass on. You're accountable for yourself, and I'm accountable for myself, and we're all accountable for each other that way, because we will make sure that everyone's doing the right thing, because we're accountable. If you see something going on that ain't supposed to be going on, you're as accountable as doing it. They kind of like to have that set up in the court system now, and the murder and shit, but that ain't the way that's supposed to be, because sometimes you're in situations where you're out of control and you have no say in anything that's going on, and they'll still find you for murder in the court system that they've corrupted and taken control of. That's another way that they've done it, people, and we all just need to band together as a civilization and fuck the corporate government, because they're out of control, and the only way to take control back is take accountability of our own selves back. Quit relying on the government for your food stamps. Go out and get a job and fucking be accountable. Anyway, that's all I have to say today for the meantime. I'm going to call her a day. You have a good one. See ya.